Good evening, everyone. As you would have heard, my name is Santrice Dorset, and this evening I am tasked with speaking to you about something that is often underestimated in the pursuit of higher education. That is the profound importance of the ASGS division of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College and the value that it will bring to you. As you embark on your academic journeys, it is crucial to realize that the path you choose is what will shape your destiny. I chose CFBC because I believe in the power of education and my commitment to personal development. My choice to attend CFBC is a tribute to the aspirations that I held for my future. While each of us may have our unique motivations and aspirations, we are all united by the commitment to pursue knowledge and a better version of ourselves. My aspiration was always to be a lawyer, and in order to do so, I would have to gain CAPE units in order to gain acceptance into the University of the West Indies. CFBC is a place of opportunity, growth, and empowerment. It is a gateway that provides a stepping stone to success that is attainable, accessible, and enriching. And let me tell you, as my past lecturer, Ms. Brooks, would say, if you can survive CFBC, you can survive anywhere. The impact of CFBC cannot be overstated. The ASGS division of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College was my stepping stone to becoming who I am today. And there were many takeaways that I gained that helped me greatly while I was at university. At CFBC, where there are much smaller classes, this allows you to have one-on-one individualized attention with your personal tutors. This is something that you will not usually or easily get at university. The smaller classes will also allow you to build meaningful relationships, have discussions, and feel more comfortable to ask questions. Again, something you will not easily do at university where there are classrooms of 200 plus students. CFBC paves the way for a smooth transition to further education and even the workforce. It teaches you planning, organization, and resilience. Whether you go to university or to work right after graduation, the skills and the knowledge that you will gain will lay a solid foundation for you. CFBC allows you to explore various subject choices that gives you an opportunity to explore fields of study before making a commitment to one particular field or major. It is a time of self-discovery and a time to discover what your true passions are. CFBC also allows you to sharpen your critical thinking and communication skills. Through classroom discussions, research projects, and presentations. Yes, presentations, my most hated assignment. It will allow you to learn how to articulate your ideas effectively and engage in thoughtful debates. These skills are necessary, especially if you tend to venture off to university. Let me tell you, CFBC will teach you resilience. CFBC will teach you determination. The challenges that you will face, but definitely overcome, will teach you the importance of perseverance and the value of hard work. As you continue your journey at the ASGS division of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, I implore you to embrace the experience wholeheartedly. Immerse yourself in the opportunities that it offers you. Be an active participant in your education and forge connections that will last a lifetime. Remember, you may need your lecturers for recommendations. Recognize that CFBC is not a lesser alternative, but it is a powerful choice that will set the stage for greatness for you.
Thank you, Ms. Dossett, for those very motivational words. I'm sure they very much appreciated it. Thank you.
I will now be introducing Ms. Shoshana Williams-Rogers and Mr. Diamond. Mr. Diamond is a senior lecturer at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College. He's a mathematics lecturer and he believes that everything is explained using mathematics. Ms. Shoshana Williams-Rogers is a business lecturer. She is a very cosmopolitan person and have traveled almost half of the world. This is a fact. All right, I will now be introducing Ms. Shoshana Williams-Rogers first.
Thank you, Jonathan. My task this afternoon is to discuss some very integral areas that you're going to meet while you're here at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College. So to the students who are returning to us, welcome back. And I do hope that you're going to have a very successful year. And to the new students coming in, welcome. We're happy to have you. And we hope that your time here would be memorable and it would be enjoyable as well. We here at CFBC, we look at the holistic development of students. And so the factors and attributes that I'm about to discuss are going to take into consideration the whole student and not just academics. So first, let's talk about advisement. Now, as you go through your college journey, irrespective of where you go, in colleges and universities, as student-centered institutions, we're expected to ensure that as you go through your tenure at the institution, that you are guided by an academic advisor. You will also have advisors in other areas, especially if you are part of clubs and organizations, but I'm going to focus on the academic advisement. Now, academic advisement is very integral to you being able to maneuver through your process while you are here. You have to trust the process, first of all, and then once you've trusted the process, you do have to ensure that there is someone there to guide you. So as you enter and you are registered, you will shortly see afterwards you will be assigned to an advisor. My strong suggestion to you is to get to know that academic advisor as quickly as possible. Find out who they are, get their contact details, go to them, introduce yourself, because as you go through your time here, you're going to be expected to see that advisor at least once per semester. And I say at least once per semester because there might be other things that you would need your advisor for. Advisement is very important as one of the student services that we offer here at the college, and it allows for you to be able to see exactly how you're going to proceed through your time here. For some persons, I'm glad when you come in and you know exactly what you're doing, you know exactly where you want to go, you have your whole life mapped out in front of you. Excellent. But at the same time, like I said, we are nurturing the holistic student. We're nurturing all facets of student life. And so therefore, being able to have these conversations with an academic advisor would allow for you to understand your place in the institution, where you want to go, and also the focus that you have to have while you're here. Let's take, for instance, a situation with one of my academic advisees, where she was very concerned about the number of subjects that she needs to carry and how will that get her through university. Once I would have gone over the subject areas that she was concentrating on, what I found is that she was doing excess that was not necessary in terms of the degree path that she was on, as well as the number of subjects that she needed for the area that she intended to study when she went to school. You see, our expertise in academia allows for you to be able to see your path, choose your path, and actually be on the roadmap that gets you from registration to graduation. And so the academic advising that we provide is very, very important. And so I really want for the parents who are listening right now to really have that conversation with your student to ensure that they are going to look at academic advising or even advising on a whole, even when they're in clubs and organizations or just in a mentorship relationship with faculty and staff, that they take into consideration the importance of what that brings to the table and how that's going to ensure that while they're here at CFBC, that their tenure is enjoyable and also memorable. And so for academic advisement, look at it as an opportunity to get a mentor. Look at it as an opportunity to get the guidance and the clear understanding of what you're doing while you're here. And let it be an opportunity for you to get that kind of rapport with adults that you're going to need, especially if you're going to the working world in a corporate society, or even if you move on to higher education. You will have to deal with advisors when you do that. So the best thing for you to do is to get your feet wet now. All right. If there are any questions on advisement, of course, you could always post those to the stream, and I'll be happy to answer them in the Q&A session. Now, one other thing that I need to, and we're going to get down into academics now, is the submission of your school-based assessments, or what we used to call the internal assessment. Now, for those persons who are going to be matriculating through ASGS, please understand that we do sit regionals once a year with CXC. And part and parcel of that whole process is not just the two papers of paper 1, which would be your multiple choice paper, paper 2, which would be short to long answer paper. There is also the school-based assessment. All right? In some instances, and for some classes, you would note that the SBA can carry as much as 60% of the final grade. That means that the SBA is very important in your overall assessment for regional exams. And so therefore, from day one, when you enter into the institution, we want, and I'm speaking for the dean, and I know I can do that, right, Dean Brooks? That the SBA is a very extremely important part of your process through regional exams, okay? When lecturers lay out the roadmap for you to be able to complete these SBAs successfully, and we do so very early. Some persons do so as early as the end of September, so look out. For me and my classes, I always start in the first week of October. And so what we do is we lay out week by week, step by step, exactly how you are to complete these SBAs successfully, with us making sure that we comb over everything that you do, having submission points that you're expected to meet, deadlines that you're expected to meet. Please ensure that you follow these deadlines. Parents, we need your assistance in this regard in terms of just checking on your students. You don't necessarily have to reach out to us directly, but as we go through the process, understand that the SBA is a year-long process. And so we need for you as well just to check in and make sure that they're staying on task. Okay, now students, this is ultimately your responsibility. So me asking your parents to help, that was just a plug, but this is your responsibility ultimately. So we're expecting that when deadlines are set for you to submit portions of the SBA so that your lecturers can grade and provide support, advice, corrections, etc., that you stay on task. You're young adults now, and we expect that of you in this institution, that you will meet those deadlines. Understanding that when you meet deadlines, we meet deadlines for regionals as well. So I'm hoping that you're coming in with a mindset, understanding the importance of the SBA. One of the goodies that I could possibly give you, a little tidbit right now, and this is for everyone, is that a lot of the subjects, the SBAs are transferable, which would mean that if you do a very successful, or you perform well with your SBA in the first year, you can transfer that SBA grade to the second year, eliminating the possibility of you having to rewrite an SBA in your second year. Yay, okay. So I'm really glad that we have that opportunity, and I'm hoping that you will take full advantage of the opportunity to sit the SBA, write it, follow the deadlines, and submit successful SBAs so that you won't, in some subject areas, not have to repeat it again in a second year. SBA work was done extensively over the summer vacation, and many of the lecturers had to go to workshops as the SBAs have been revamped. Some have been changed, point systems changed, so please understand the SBAs that were written 2 to 3 years ago will not meet the requirements or standards of the SBAs for this academic year. We also understand that you have all of these opportunities for assistance to AI, etc. Please understand that the layouts of these SBAs are, of course, coded by your lecturers. We do have the software and the technology at our, available to us to ensure that you not only stay on task, but that it is your original work. So the SBAs are very important and can account for up to 60% of your grade. And so I do hope that you come to our institution understanding that this part of the process is something that, yes, it carries a lot of weight, but you have the opportunity to roll it out over a year, and you will take full advantage of your lecturers giving you those bits by bits. And like we say here, an inch by inch, it is a cinch. And so therefore, you'll take full advantage of those inches as we inch our way to the end of the SBA and a proper and successful SBA submission. All right? So that's SBA. Moving along nicely. Try to make sure I give Mr. Diamond enough time. Okay. Next are the transcripts. Some of you, for the first time, this is where you're going to be exposed to a transcript. And I am going to tell you, like I tell all of my students at the beginning of every school year, or every academic year, guard your transcript grade. Guard your transcript grade and guard your transcript grade. What do I mean when I say guard your transcript grade? Okay, so many persons come and they think because they're sitting regionals that they only have to pay attention to the CXC Cape grade. Yeah, and I can ask the question now, how many of you thought that? And you would raise your virtual hand. However, although that is important, it is not the only thing that allows for you to matriculate successfully into the university of your choice. Let's just say, for instance, I have the Harvard grads out there, the Princeton hopefuls. We're looking at the Sorbonne hopefuls in France, and we're looking at the Oxford hopefuls in England. Your Cape grade is not, and of course the Pelicans, sorry, Dean Brooks. All right, so along with your Cape grades, what you need to understand is the transcript grade shows productivity for the entire year. You all know how it is. You go into an exam pumped, really hyped up, and you just blow the paper away. But if you have a grade 1 for a paper, and you have all ones, a paper 1, your profiles are all A for that exam, congratulations. However, if your transcript says a D, you're gonna have a problem, because that shows that the productivity for the entire school year was subpar. And now you did this excellent exam, which you could have fluked. And that is in the mindset of admissions at universities and universities and colleges. Okay, so your transcript grade is very important to make sure that you keep those transcript grades high. What do I say by the transcript grade? That's your report card. Yeah. So if you have 4 units that you're doing, and at the end of the first semester in December, your transcript comes out, which is your report card, and it says, okay, you have maybe 2 Ds, a C, and an F. That's not a good reflection of the work that you would have done in the first semester. I'm just telling you. And then in the second semester, you might have done a little better. You might have gotten a B here, maybe, and the others a Cs. What would happen is that if you average out those 2 semesters, it does not show great productivity for the year. What I have seen some students actually do, and I need to debunk the myth right now, is that what they would not get the transcript grade. They will get those Ds and Fs, and then the next year they'll realize, okay, I'm trying to see if at the end of this second or third year I'm trying to get into a university, but I have all these Ds and Fs, so I'm going to retake the class. Unfortunately, what some people feel is that when they retake the class, it's going to magically remove the grade that was there before. That's wrong. It's not going to happen. All it's going to show is that you did the class twice. And the first time you got a D, and the second time you got a C. What's going to happen is that in admissions in universities, you're going to have to explain that. And I would tell you it's best to not have to explain possibly any low grade or you having to retake a course, as opposed to just doing the work, being productive all year long, and making sure that you get the best possible grade that you can get the first time, as opposed to trying to do it a second time and then having this thick transcript that you have to then explain all of the courses that you did. So I can't stress it enough in terms of guarding your transcript and guarding those transcript grades and working as hard as you can throughout the year to be productive. And what I've noticed is that a person who works well throughout the entire year and has high productivity in the entire year, more than likely has a great regional CAPE exam result. Okay, so they work both hand in hand. One of the things I don't want is that you are not able to be accepted into the university of your choice because you had a bad transcript. So please make sure that you guard your transcript grade. See that as your productivity for the year. Work really hard to make sure you get all those A's and B's, and you get a great GPA. All right, which is your grade point average. Make sure that you keep your grade point average nice and high so that once you're ready to go on to university, you have an excellent transcript to send, and that speaks on your behalf quite easily. Also, if you're one of those go-getters who wants to make sure that you're on the dean's list, that you get all of these awards and accolades at graduation, that is also done through high transcript grades. It's not only the CXC grades, okay? So making sure that you have a great transcript grade shows how productive you've been while you've been here, and it allows for you to moving those points that I said before from registration to graduation. At graduation, you take center stage, collecting a lot of awards and accolades and making yourself and, of course, your families proud. So that is your transcript. The final thing that I'm going to speak on is about absenteeism. Now, this goes a little bit hand in hand with the transcript, but you will be receiving your student handbooks shortly. And I implore you to let that be the first bit of reading that you do before coming here. That is making sure you go through that handbook. And one of the things that you're going to see in that handbook is our policy on absenteeism. Now, our policy states that you have to attend 80% of your classes in order for you to first receive credit, also for you to be able to sit regional exams. And so absenteeism is something that we have a strict policy on. We have been following this policy. We're definitely going to be buckling down on this policy moving forward and really managing your attendance. And please understand that your attendance, it's not just being physically present in the class, which would mean that you could have come in a half an hour before the class ends. We're talking about lateness, absenteeism. We are going to be chatting those trends. And it behooves you to ensure that you maintain your high attendance rate for all classes. And I'm talking even those classes that are 1 hour long. Most of the classes are anywhere between 2 and 3 hours, some going as high as 6. However, those 1 hour classes, you might think that, it's just an hour. No, all of it. Once you are assigned to a credited hour, you are expected to attend the session, okay? And so absenteeism is something that is very important to us. You also have to understand that you're in training for the world of work. You're in training for the world, period. And Jonathan would have mentioned that I'm a prolific traveler, and that is true. And one of the things that happens anywhere I go in the world is the whole idea in any corporate society, it's all about being at work and being at work on time. And so you're not going to get away with it, get away from this anywhere you go. So one of the things that you have to do, you have to start now. If you are going to be absent for a class, please ensure that you let your lecturers know. You are provided with contact details for all of your lecturers so that you can email, let them know. If it's a medical emergency, please make sure that in conjunction with your parents or yourself, caretakers, etc., that you send the requisite information, medical information to the dean so that the dean can inform lecturers accordingly about any absences that you're going to have. Incidentally, I am doing postgrad work right now myself, and I too have to make sure that I'm in classes on Saturdays and Sundays. So, this is something that we cannot get away from as in academia because we're expected to show up. We also realize that we have done, and the data proves that persons who attend or have a high attendance rate in classes do well in exams, in regionals. Because you have to remember, when you're present in class, it's not just about what's in the text. It's also about your interaction with your colleagues. It's about your interaction with your lecturer. It's about the lecturer providing you with examples that may not be covered in the book, or exercises that are not covered in the text, and things that you can use to express yourself when you're submitting answers for your regional exams. It's also about the camaraderie in the class, getting to know people, forming lifelong friendships with your colleagues. You can't do that if you're absent. And so therefore I implore you to think about the road ahead. This is your first semester. For those returning, this is your next semester. Please remember that being here carries weight. Being in class, alert and engaged, also carries weight. And so therefore, for our attendance policy, we're going to be managing that this semester. And be honest, we have before. So please make note of that is something that we're really going to be stressing, and we would have discussed that as colleagues. Now I'm making sure that you understand what you're in for. Turn up And I go by a saying that I'd rather crawl out than call out. So I would make sure that I make it and then have someone say, okay, well, you need to go because you don't look so well or you're not feeling well or whatever. But make the effort and ensure that you are present and punctual to all of your classes. So I do hope that this information that I would have provided would have helped both our prospective students, our returning students, and of course parents who are looking on with your students understand exactly what we're about, the policies that we hold near and dear to us as an institution, and ensuring, and I hope I was able to let you understand that we are here to develop the students holistically. And so all of the things that I would have spoken on, from advisement to ensuring that they work on their SBAs, to making sure that they guard their transcript grades and show up and show out, that the information has been helpful. Thank you so much for listening, and I do hope to see you around campus. I will now turn the floor back over to our presenter. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
A hearty welcome to all prospective students to CFBC. My role is to present on 3 areas. One is artificial intelligence. I'm no expert, but we are concerned with matters related to artificial intelligence. Secondly, I would look at something that is related, which is cell phone use. And finally, I would help some students to think about your future and whether your future is that of going to a university or whether your future is simply working in some specialized area. So let's begin. We're going to look at what has been launched on our communities all across the world, which we call generative artificial intelligence models. I'm not here to give a lecture on these. I'm not here to even suggest how they work, but you can see some examples if you are seeing the screen right now. ChatGPT is one of the models that is quite popular. Bing also has artificial intelligence within its search browser, and we also have Bard. Now, I focus on these 3 because our students would most likely be using these, what we call generative AI. There's a definition there of what generative AI is, just simply those systems or models that can generate content such as text, images, music, and more. The 3 examples you're looking at, they generate usually text. But I have had conversations with other IT lecturers who have had the opportunity to look at models that generate music, look at those that generate art. So my suggestion to you is that we refer to these as tools, just like your calculator is a tool. These models are tools. But there are some issues that they present for us in education. So first, if you're going to come to CFB College, let's look at how you can be using these tools, these AI tools, effectively as a student. All right? They can help you to retrieve information quite quickly. They can help you in terms of your ability to write quality work. Some of you in high school may have heard of Grammarly. I hope you had experience with that. That can actually correct your paper and make your presentation a lot more in line with what is accepted. One of the things we find with some students who use these apps, these AI apps, is that it generates for them ideas. Mrs. Rogers spoke earlier about your SBA. And in the early parts of of doing your SB, a lot of students struggle with what to do. And so these AI apps can give you ideas on what to do. All right, and the list continues. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can record them if you're there in the online space. Reflective studying, that's not just simply studying, but studying and thinking about what you're studying, thinking about what may come. I love students who ask what-if questions. So a student picks up a past paper and then they will say, what if CXC changed this in the question? How do I respond? Those kinds of students are definitely reflecting even as they revise. You know, they're just not looking for knowledge, but they're thinking beyond. All right? So you have language learning, evaluating code, so those students who are into computer science programming, and support for the differently able. If you have any issues with hearing, with speech, these AI models can help you. But there's a downside to them. And I want to focus on this a little bit because here's where students would run into issues. One, for those of you who would begin to use ChatGPT, bad. Go to the website OpenAI. Be very careful because these models do not always give you the truth. All right, some of them are inaccurate in some of the things they suggest, and they could be a little bit unreliable. So do not take these things wholesale and pass them up to your lecturer, your teacher. But plagiarism is a huge issue when you start moving beyond your secondary level of education. Once you come into the tertiary level space, we are very concerned about students who are using other people's writings and works as if they are the creators of these productions. So whenever you do that, whether it's intentional or not, it's referred to as plagiarism. And when you're using some of these tools, that is a serious possibility you would have to guard against. Ethical concerns. Believe it or not, when you start engaging some of these artificial intelligence applications, they will feel human to you. You may begin to develop a level of trust with them. And it's possible that you can, give them private information about yourself, about your family. So you have to be very concerned when you're using these tools. In addition to that, maybe it's not so big in our society, but these tools are built on what we call huge data sets, and sometimes they may not reflect our race, the way we are to be represented. So there might be some biases in how these tools interact with you. So be careful with that. As a lecturer, and you as a student, you should be very, very concerned about critical thinking. And I need to just say something about that very briefly. Quite a lot of students think of education in terms of knowledge. I come to gain knowledge. I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, that's not the wisest way to think of education. The reason you're really being educated is for you to think how to think. It's about thinking. And thinking requires knowledge, yes, but thinking takes knowledge and connects it with other knowledge. It breaks down knowledge. It builds up knowledge. It applies knowledge out there in our societies to many things. So, your journey into CFBC is one in which you will find very early in your courses that your lecturers are asking a lot of probing questions. A lot of questions, because we are going to challenge your brain from the point of view of thinking critically. Now, one of the problems with these applications that you use from time to time is that when you overuse them and you become too reliant on them, then that ability to critically think, it reduces. And once that happens, you're not going to be the best student you can be. So guard against the overuse of these. And then we have issues of emotional intelligence. That has to do with how you connect with persons around you. If you're always on these high-tech AI apps and you're using them rather than, let's say, engaging your lecturer or engaging peers, you may lose that ability to be intelligent in terms of emotions, to deal with conflict issues in the classroom. All right? Similar to critical thinking, overuse can lower your creativity. And the AI has a limitation. I know for sure that with ChatGPT, it's built on data sets up to about 2020, 2021. So some current things it may not be able to handle. For instance, if you ask, can you write an essay on my experience in attending a CPL cricket match this year, it will not be able to produce that for you because its data set is, up until about 2020, 2021. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Also, these models may not have access to some guarded journals and research work by persons. As such, sometimes these models might suggest for you fake references. And if you're not careful, you may pass up to your lecturer and to CXC Cape, sources that don't even exist. So again, be very careful. All right? So once we are aware of the pitfalls, we can proceed with some ease. Now, next, I want to move to cell phone. Now, the cell phone hosts a lot of these apps. So issues in terms of negative issues with the cell phone, that's covered already in some of the negative issues with AI. But cell phones can be beneficial and they can promote learning. All right? But here's something that appalled me when I was asked to, do a little talk on this, and I start looking at what are the conversations out there. Students, parents, the body called UNESCO, they're actually calling for a ban on cell phones in schools. I know one of the prime arguments is that you need your cell phone for cases of emergency. I have been at CFBC for a long time. I guess that's why I'm referred to as senior lecturer. But I've never met an emergency case here in which the cell phone helped. Never. Even though that's an argument put forward. So sometimes it's difficult, not just for me, but for other lecturers to buy this argument that a cell phone is necessary because of emergencies. I'll tell you some of one or two of the emergencies I've had is my parent has bought me some KFC lunch and I need to get it. That has become an emergency. It's not in my book, but that's why you need your cell phone. All right? So if we can put our emphasis on students, and you students put emphasis on yourself, then cell phones can be beneficial, and there might not be a need for us to get rid of the phone while in class. But let's look at some of these issues briefly. Disruption to classrooms. I hope some parents are hearing me as well, because many of the intrusions into a class is a student's cell phone, even vibrating is a disruption. At a critical moment in the learning environment, a parent is calling. Now, I want you to understand that the classroom space is not a single student space. It belongs to everybody. And so the disruption is everybody is being disrupted. One suggestion, parents, get your students' timetables. There's a lot of space on the timetable, and so you can know when to call a student in those free, or what we call sessions that they are not in instruction, learning instruction. Okay, so please be mindful that it's not really accepted to have a phone disrupting a class. It's really not. Okay, I'm sorry, but I think this screen. Yes, secondly, reduce quality of learning. Of course, if you're distracted, you might not hear well, you know what's going on in class. Cyberbullying, we have some of that here at CFBC, where unfortunately there are students who are being picked on, you know, while messages are sent in class. And then there are some physical issues with our body, the way we are curled up, just spending a lot of time on the cell phone can lead to some, you know, neck bending, which we call tech neck, and then the eye strains and so forth. All right? So how should a student use your cell phone effectively? Here are some suggestions. Practice digital etiquette. Know when to turn off the phone, when to mute it, you know. Develop what I refer to as a balanced phone usage plan. You know, there's something called a balanced diet, where you try to eat each group of food in the right proportion. Take that, translate that to your cell phone. You can't use it all the time, you know, in one area. So have a plan. I would use my phone X hours for this. I would not use it there, you know. Set a plan in terms of how you would use your cell phone. Prioritize academics. What I have found, strangely, is that students who are really focused on learning don't use their cell phones a lot. Sometimes you try to say, I'm trying to reach you. Okay? So that's something I found just by observing. Use relevant productive learning tools. So those of you who are coming to college who would be taking up courses like French and Spanish, there are apps, AI apps to help you to learn your languages properly. Those of you who will be doing the best subject in the world, mathematics, there are apps that can help you in your area of trigonometry, calculus, and so on. So have some of these apps available to you. Of course, limit your social media presence. Practice mindfulness. That is to say, every time you pick up the phone, try and ask yourself, is what I'm going to do beneficial? Why am I doing it? If you're going to play one of your favorite games, ask yourself that question. Why am I playing this game? Is it just to relax me? Then other questions will come. For how long? Because you would be mindful of other activities that you have to get involved with. So practice mindfulness. And force yourself, believe it or not, to engage persons face-to-face. I think I leave off one of the face there. Face-to-face interactions. Practice it. Several years ago, I met a study reported in, I think, The Economist, one of those magazines. And the question was, why are black students, minority students, not doing well at Ivy League schools? And one of the findings is that these students do not, you know, have a conversation with professors like the others. And that's something I notice here again at CFBC. If you want to be successful at CFBC, develop having face-to-face conversations with your lecturers, with your advisors, and with peers about matters related to your development. Practice it. It will help you. Again, we see these, I'm seeing in my presence, physical presence here, a lot of students who are in the debating society. And that's a really good thing. Engage yourselves in some of the extracurricular activities that are here so that you will develop skills that are not necessarily academic skills. There are some skill sets that are mourned upon by employers. As my students out there, I want you to hear me well. CFBC should not just be a journey in developing academic and technical skills. CFBC should also be a journey in developing skills to deal with communication, to deal with conflict, to deal with determination and persistence, to deal with your ability to be resourceful. When you're given a task, you shouldn't lay your arms bare and ask what to do. You should have a sense of where to go for information. There should be a drive in you. And this is why I'm suggesting that some of the extracurricular activities, and if your program has any kind of internship, this can help you to build skill sets that are not necessarily academic. Yeah? If we can move on here a little bit. I think my, yeah. Now I move on to the last area. I refer to it as planning for work specialization. I was asked to really talk about, tell students about how to get to a university. But I'm very honest. A lot of students don't go after universities after finishing CFBC. So I look at going off to university or going to work as a specialized area in your future. That's how I'm looking at this. All right? So what's the plan if you have these things? One, and again, if these students can hear me well, Dean Brooks, I think it's from tomorrow, we have registration. Hello? Advisement and registration for our year one. So I want you to hear me well. It is very important, as Ms. Rogers indicated, that you know what you want to do when you get to a university. You know that you want your transcript to contain a record of good scores and attendance and whatever else is on the transcript. That whole process begins with you knowing yourself. So I'm challenging you right now, if you haven't heard anything at all said by Mrs. Rogers or myself to know, I want you to think on this. Who are you? What are your strengths? What are the things you love? What are the things you have a passion about? Because you're going to begin to align your professional journey in terms of what you really like. Again, some of my observations. Students who don't have passion for what they're doing, they will drop off at some point in the journey. They will. That's what we see here at CFBC and also here even beyond CFBC. Believe you me, we have had students who came to CFBC and choose to do business, and a few years on, they're in science. We have had those in science, they're in humanities. So some of the dropping off, that has to do with the fact that, look, you haven't really discovered what are your interest points. So please evaluate your strengths, evaluate your abilities, know what you're really good at, that's your expertise. All right, then determine from that what career paths you want to go down. Now, career path doesn't necessarily mean you're going to university. It just means this is the kind of job I want down the road. Close your eyes even for this moment as you listen to me. Close your eyes and dream a bit. In the next 6 to 8 years, dream about where you will be in life. I hope you don't say jail. That's not a career path you would want, really, right? But dream. Dream based on what you love. Dream about your job. Or jobs, might be one or two. So determine that from that dream. And then when you come tomorrow, whenever you come, you're going to prepare your professional development plan through the choices that you make with your subjects. And that's important. Unfortunately, if few of you students who are listening in at this moment, unfortunately, what you're dreaming about may not align with what results you have from your CSEC. If that is the case, you have some further work to do. You might have to go and have additional lessons in those areas that will cause you to align the subjects with your dreams. All right? Create a supportive network. That means speak to professionals, teachers, advisors, counselors, and so on. And speak to them about where you want to go in life. And then build practical experience. A lot of students, and there's an idea out there that, oh, when you come to ASGS, you don't have technical skills and there's no job out there for you. That's not necessarily true. In ASGS, we have computer science, digital media, physics, chemistry, bio. All of these subjects have technical skills. We need interpreters in French and in Spanish. Those are skills. We need to begin to build our skills through experiences. So those students who unfortunately skip school, you're skipping experiences, whether it be in a lab, where you can earn some of these skills. So try and avoid skipping school. All right? And this is interesting. Practice enthusiastic determination. It just doesn't say to be determined, but to be happy about being determined. So let's deal with a word that we use a lot, that for me, I think we should have a big name change, and it is failure. When you fail, find a happy way to be determined in moving forward. Some people somewhere along the line have heard the inspection, when you fail, you must fail forward rather than fail backwards. It just means, yes, you fail, get up, move on with determination and some enthusiasm. All right? Now, in the Caribbean especially, we do not always get what we want. In other words, you do not always get your dreams to come out truthfully or the way in reality. So be flexible. That would require of you sometimes to make choices that allow you to make turns when the world turns. So flexibility is going to be important. How does that matter in terms of what happens tomorrow? Those of you coming to do the associate degree would realize that you would have to do at least one unit outside of your area of specialization. For instance, if you are doing the sciences, you might be forced to do history or law, something that's in the humanities. And you might frown at that, but it makes you flexible for the future. You never know what the future holds. All right? So these are just some ideas in planning for your future, whether your future is to get into university or to do some specialized work. All right? Thanks for your attention. As was mentioned before, if you have questions, you can post them. I now rest.
I would like to thank Mrs. Rogers and Mr. Diamond for the informative presentation. Mrs. Rogers outlined clearly the importance of your academic advisor. It's an essential aspect of your college experience. It's the mission of SBAs and a great explanation of transcripts and the importance of it if you want to pursue a university education, and of course attendance in the college. Mr. Diamond went and clearly gave us the advantages and disadvantages of artificial intelligence. The proper use of cell phones in the classroom setting is something that is important to be discussed and can affect your learning very significantly. And your future, what do you want to do in your future? Do you want to be a specialized or further in academics? And he gave you the cons, pros, and allow you to choose which one you want to pursue. We will now invite Shania Bidder to introduce the dean.
I will now welcome Ms. Laverne Brooks, who will give an overview of the Division of Arts, Science, and General Studies. Ms. Laverne Brooks is the Dean of the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies. She is also associated with the Debating Society as a faculty representative, and she firmly believes in lifelong learning. Ms. Brooks.
Thank you and good evening. Here at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, we are tasked with overseeing the CAPE A-level program. And the program is normally a 2-year program and in some instances a 3-year program. And for those who may find it a little difficult, you can stay up to 5 years. And some students wouldn't like to stay for 5 years. However, for the 2023-2024 academic year, we will be introducing 2 new programs. Animation and game design will be in its trial run, and so persons can register for animation and game design. And then the reintroduction of the performing arts to the division. Most persons who would have left here a couple of years ago, we did the performing arts. So the performing arts is returning to the sections on the ASGS curriculum. What I would also like to speak to is the issue of registration and the importance of making sure that the students who enter into the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies, that their experience is an interesting experience and that they would have gotten the best opportunity to take the subjects that they would like to study at the advanced level. What we do in terms of our advisement and registration is to provide the students with the opportunity to get an understanding as to what he or she would like to do, what they would like to pursue, what are their goals, what are their dreams and aspirations. And so we try as much as possible to match the subjects that they would have done at the CSEC level with those that they can do at the CAPE level. Let me indicate early and for clarity that the majority of the subjects that are undertaken in the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies, they come with prerequisites. And generally, I think that most of the students would have gotten the prerequisites. They would have been exposed to the registration handbook. They would have seen the timetable. They would have gotten instructions. You can pursue an associate's degree in different areas, whether it be visual communications, business, whether accounting, entrepreneurship, management of business, or economics. You can do mathematics, you can do the natural sciences, and there are different options for the natural sciences. You can also do the humanities, whether it be law, it be lit, it be history, sociology. You can do the fine arts, and those fine arts will come with visual communications, the performing arts, digital media, animation, gaming. There are also other tracks that you can pursue in terms of getting a diploma where you only want to do the units that are necessary for matriculation to university. That is okay. And then there are those who wish to do maybe just a certificate where they will do two unit courses, which is 4 units, which would be, if you decide to do 2 units of sociology and then 2 units of history, you will be given a certificate. So 4 units, but it must be based on that you would have had the 2 matching units of 2 different CAPE subjects. So what we are saying is that there is something for everyone. There are persons who may just want to do A-levels. We can accommodate that also. But we need to make sure that students understand that there are prerequisites and that the prerequisites are important. There are core subjects, especially if you are going to do the diploma or if you're going to do the associate's degree. There are 4, generally they will tell you there are 4 areas that they refer to as your core. And so you need to pay attention to the registration handbook, and it provides all of the core areas under the different associate's degree, or if you're doing a diploma or if you're doing a certificate. Then you have your general education courses, and the general education courses are generally Caribbean studies, com studies, and you must do mathematics. And then you will do the associate's degree. It is 10 units, and it spells out what are the requirements for that particular associate's degree that you're trying to pursue. So I'm saying to students, when you come here tomorrow and Wednesday, have an idea as to what you would like to pursue. Look at what universities you are trying to apply to, and see what are the matriculation requirements, meaning what are the A-levels they're asking you to do in order to get into that particular university? Because that is important for students to be able to move from A-levels into the university setting. And remember, CFBC is a stepping stone to university. It is not the end of your education. And as young people, you need to recognize that a first degree is almost like A-levels now. So you need to move on from having your A-levels into undergraduate work and eventually postgraduate work. We need to recognize that for us in the division, we try as much as possible to provide that guidance. And so we are asking parents also to provide guidance to your children, to pay attention as to when they have classes, where they're at, what is happening, because we need to make sure that the students are in school and that they're coming to school going forward. We also need to make sure that the students will be given the CAPE handbook so that they would also see all of the necessary information that CAPE is providing to the students. So if you wish, you could also go on cxc.org, and a lot of the information is also there. The CFBC handbook would also provide you with that information, and you will also get the handbook just maybe in a week or 2 from now. We also need to make sure that when we talk about advisement, after they advise, they are given a form, they fill in the form, they have to register on our online system, which is called Sonis Web. The students must be registered on Sonis Web in order to be a student at the CFBC. You cannot just come to classes and you're not registered on Sonis Web. Sonis Web is where the attendance will be inputted. This is where the grades will be inputted. This is where your transcript will emerge from. You cannot come and sit in a class and you're not on Sonis Web. It means that you are not part of the class. So you will not be allowed to just come and sit in a class and then say, oh, you belong to this class. Remember that after the 4th of September, it is considered late registration and it attracts a fee of $50. So we are saying to the students that we have given you 2 days for registration, which is tomorrow the 29th and also Wednesday the 30th, and we are going to divide the students into groups. So students, parents, guardians, persons who are listening, please note that the students will be done in groupings. So on the 29th, we will deal with the students who range from the alphabetical letter. Their surnames begin with A to J. So the surnames A to J will be the students who will be visiting us tomorrow for advisement and registration. Please, A to J. Those are the students we will be entertaining tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be in the Poinciana conference room, and that is where you will come for the advisement. Students, do note that the letters, surnames beginning with K to W will be advised and registered on Wednesday the 30th. Registration is 9 to 1 p.m. each day. So let me repeat for those of you. The persons with the surnames A to J will be advised and registered on Wednesday, 29th August from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Students with the surnames K to W will be advised on Wednesday, 30th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. On the Wednesday advisement, we will go to rooms 203, 204. So on Tuesday, we will be in the Poinciana conference room, and that is on the left-hand side. As you enter into the gate, you will see the security, and you will see upstairs hospitality. That is where the Poinciana conference room is. So you have that window of 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to be registered. The dress code for registration, blue or black jeans with a t-shirt, no markings, nothing, a white t-shirt or a white polo shirt or a button-down white shirt, and black shoes for the males as well as the females. You would have gotten some information as to no stress jeans, no draggers, no Crocs, no hats, no colored shoes and that kind of thing. We are coming for advisement and registration during that period. On the 31st, it is general orientation physically on campus. So students, all students, year one students are invited to the general orientation on the 31st of August. So if there are questions, and if you have any questions, you can put the questions on whether Facebook or in the live stream on the YouTube, and we will answer those questions. Now, we have been having some challenges in relation to behavior, or what we call manners, basic soft skills. And what we find is that there are a number of students, when they come to the CFBC, there is a certain level of rudeness that is being displayed. We need to recognize that the lecturers are here to provide the hidden curriculum as well as an explicit curriculum. They are going to talk to you in terms about the rules for their class, punctuality, right? They are going to talk about the uniform. They are going to ask you to do certain things. What I need you to do is to be extremely respectful of the lecturers who are going to engage with you in the classrooms. Students who choose to be disrespectful will be put out of classes. And I don't expect you to come to me to ask me to put you back in a class where you would have been disrespectful to your lecturer. So I'm asking you, there are times when you need to respect yourself and to respect the adults who will be providing education to you. And I'm asking the parents also to speak to the students, to speak to your children, to speak to your ward. You know, just they're young adults and we want to treat them as young adults. And so we don't want to be able to have to interface with that kind of behavior, because manners, you have to be respectful. The lecturers in turn, they have to be respectful to the students, and you have to be respectful to your peers also. So apart from being respectful to the lecturers, you also need to be respectful to your peers that you interact with. We need to recognize that it is important for us to have those soft skills as we maneuver in terms of our life skills. The dress code in terms of the uniform, it was sent to all the students. And remember, the way you wear the uniform says a lot about you as an individual. We need to recognize that the males should have no earrings. The pants should be on your waist. The young ladies, they tend to come here in very hot skirts, and we're asking that they pay attention to the length of the skirt, and we don't want any tight pants. It's extremely hot, and so we want to make sure that persons are well put together and that we obey the rules and regulations of the CFBC. We are here, there is a reason why you have chosen the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, and there is a reason why you have chosen the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies. There are some students who are overseas. They will be dealt with when they return. So we are asking persons who are overseas that when you return, that you would visit the office of ASGS and you will be provided with the instructions. All students should be in uniform by the 20th of September. So everyone should by that time be in full uniform once you would have gotten your acceptance letters. So students, I would like to welcome you to the Division of Arts, Sciences, and General Studies, and I pray that your sojourn with us would be a very memorable stay, for whether you're here for 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter. We welcome you, and we hope that you will enjoy your stay at the CFBC. Thank you. Students, parents, remember that you can ask questions. So this is your time to ask the questions. And remember, tomorrow we will also have a discussion with the students as they come for advisement and registration. Let me indicate that at times, when we open the system for registration, students tend to not come for advisement, but they proceed to register on SONIS Web. Do note that the data will be collected as it relates to advisement who came, and the students who have not gotten any advisement, they will be deleted from the system. So let me just indicate that there were a number of students who proceeded without getting an acceptance letter. They proceeded to register on the system. The units were removed, and the students were sent an email as to the procedure, the policies and the procedures as it relates to registration. Any questions? Ms. Green? Mr. Tatum? Yes? If you wish to change divisions, there is a form that you can fill in. You can come and see the assistant registrar, Mrs. Kelly, and she will assist you with the transfer from, if you apply to ASGS and you wish to transfer to another division, Mrs. Kelly will provide that assistance. So I suggest that you do that tomorrow. As you enter into the gate, you will see a sign on the left side which say the Nathaniel John Hospitality Building, and the conference room is upstairs. Thank you. Any other questions? What about the timetable? It is not. Please note that your timetable, the individual timetables, will appear on Sonny's Web when you are registered. The timetables that were sent were just for you to browse and to see whether or not you have clashes, to see what times you will be having your classes. And when you come for advisement and registration, the individual timetables will emerge as you register. Yes, the advisement is 9 to 1 p.m. And please be reminded that the 29th, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, 29th August, surnames A to J. Those are the persons who are to come on Tuesday. On Wednesday, surnames beginning with K to W will be entertained on Wednesday, the 30th of August. The hold will only be removed when you come for advisement. The dean's hold. You cannot be registered unless you are advised. Any other questions? And yes, after advisement, it is registration. And do note that the courses that you were advised to register for, if you wish to add and drop, you have to fill in a form. That form has to be signed by the dean, and it has to be based on the subjects that you would have passed, because they are prerequisites for the courses. There are some courses that do not have prerequisites, but the majority of the courses, they do have prerequisites. Registered, no one was registered on ASGS for anything in May. They could not register because the system was declassified. Everything, you could not have been registered for any course in May. They were admitted to the college in May, but not registered. Any other questions? The dress code is a white t-shirt, white polo, or a button-down school shirt. That's the dress code, with a black or blue jeans and black shoes. In terms of registration, we're asking you to bring your preliminary grade slip. If you would have done courses, subjects before, you can bring a copy as well as the original certificates for us to verify. Do note that I am asking you not to bombard the Ministry of Education with going there to get a preliminary slip. There can be access on cxe.org, and you will go to the student portal and you will see your results. We need all of the results. Thank you. And also, please remember that we have to live with COVID, and we are living with COVID, and we don't want to have CFBC closed down or any part of St. Kitts and Nevis. So please bring your utensil, your writing instruments. Thank you. Your pen, your pencil, and if you have to have paper, please do so. Thank you. School begins on the 4th of September, which is next Monday, and we will begin with the convocation, which will be at the Antioch Baptist Church. After the convocation, school continues. Students are advised to attend the convocation service. It's on Monday, the 4th of September, 9 o'clock. And the dress code will continue in terms of you will wear jeans, the white t-shirt or polo shirt, or a button-down white shirt with black shoes. No slides, no Crocs, no draggers. Right? Your heel should be in, your toes should be in. We are coming for instructions. Thank you. Any other questions? The results can be accessed at cxe.org, the student portal, where you went to see whether or not you were successful the night when CXE released the results. So the results are there. All you have to do is to get them printed down. What we need also is that the school code, that your date of birth, your name will be on it, your registration number. I would prefer if you do not cut off what we call your biodata, because that is where we will be able to say it is authentic. So you try as much as possible. If you can't get them printed at home, the library opens at 8, and so they can be printed there. Any other questions? Ms. Green? No? All right, so let me just reiterate that on Tuesday, 29th, persons with the alphabetical order of A to J will be advised and registered, and persons with alphabetical names beginning with K to W will be advised on the 30th. Thank you. If there are no other questions. Which technical sciences? Woodwork? What technical sciences? Woodwork? We don't do woodwork at Cape, so they need to indicate the subjects that they're speaking to. What are the subjects the person is speaking to when you say technical sciences? I know that there were some delays in some of the subjects, but the technical subjects, generally, we don't do the CAPE for these technical subjects. Our program are strictly academic programs with performing arts, digital media, IT, computer science, animation, and game design. Those are the more technical parts of what we provide. And visual communications, which is art and design. Art and design. Right, we will deal with those as we go along, as the ministry is trying to work assiduously to make sure that the students will have their grades. So it's not a case where there will be turn back. We are making sure that all the students will be dealt with, as the issue of delay is not on their part, but it's a delay on the end of the examination body. But the local registrar understands, and he is working to get the grades to the students. All right. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And you will get an email with a few other details in terms of clarification, so you can check your emails. I recognize that some persons would have gotten an acceptance letter today, and so additional information that was sent before will also be sent to all the students again with the time, the way in which the registration will take place based on alphabetical order, and also we will send the information to the students again so that they would have that information. If parents wish to come with their children during the advisement and the registration process, feel free. We are an open society and we cater to persons who wish to have that conversation. Thank you. And let me just say thank you for coming. And those who are who have been viewing on our live stream, thank you for engaging us and having us. Thank you.
For academic year. And I would just like to say thank you all for listening and being an attentive audience. I hope that the information that was expressed during this orientation will be helpful to you all and that it will guide you throughout your academic period. That would be bringing it to a close, and thank you very much. Have a great night.